So good morning, welcome to math, and I think when you look, you can see what we're going to be talking about today. It is time! Awesome! Totally new and different from area and perimeter. So, I have a clock in front of you. I had to go to school to get this guy. And this shorter red hand here, usually a little thicker, is called the hour hand because it tells the time to the hour. The longer, thinner arm is called the minute hand, and it tells you the minutes. So we're going to be looking at some time, so I'm going to make my clock say this time. So when my hand is pointing straight up to my 12, the hour hand points directly at a number. I love it. I love how that works because when this is pointing at the top, this is always pointing directly at a number. So I bet you all are just dying to tell me what time this is. Say it. You're right. It's 9 o'clock. So I'm just going to turn this a couple of times. And what is this time? Yep, 1 o'clock. This one is 5 o'clock. This one is 8 o'clock, you're right. Every hour, this minute hand, so when he's traveling around for an hour, he makes one whole circle. And the hour hand, did you notice what he was doing? So I'm going to do that again. Watch the hour hand while I move this guy one whole circle around the clock. He moves from one number to the next number. So he's moving 1 hour ahead, from 1 hour to the next hour. So when the minute hand, let's put this minute hand here, halfway through my clock, what do you notice is happening with my hour hand? Yeah, my hour hand is halfway between two numbers. So when this guy is halfway around, my hour hand is pointing halfway between two numbers. So think about that. What direction do my hands turn on a clock? They turn what we call clockwise. So now here's another question. Why do you think clocks are round? Why is their face round? So I'm going to set my time right here. So this says, you're right, 1 o'clock. So what time comes after 1 o'clock? Yep, 2 o'clock. How does that minute hand move between 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock? That minute hand is going to move a complete circle. You're right. What does the hour hand do? What did the hour hand do when I did that? It moved from 1 hour to the next hour, from 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. So if this is my time, 4 o'clock, and I want to move it ahead, what hour is going to come next? 5 o'clock, you're right. So I have got a couple of clocks here, and I would like you to show me what time these clocks are saying. So what would your hands look like on these clocks? So I want you to pause and think about it for a minute. And then we'll come back and I'll show you and see if you got them right. Pause. Okay, so 7 o'clock. So that means my little hand is pointing to the 7, and it's o'clock, which means it is at the top. I hope you had that. 11 o'clock. My short hand's pointing to the 11. It's because it's an o'clock. My large hand is pointing to the 12. Ooh, they wrote this in an interesting way. So my front number is 2, so that means my little hand is pointing to the 2, and 2 zeros means it's at the 12, 2 o'clock. 10 o'clock, my hour hand's pointing to the 10, and my minute hand is pointing to the 12. So I hope you were able to get those. That was awesome. All right, so I'm going to get my clock back now. So here we go. We have 2 o'clock. I hope you can see most of that. 2 o'clock. And, before we do that, get that guy back. What are 2 different ways that I could write, or two different ways that I could write 2 o'clock or say it. So we can do it exactly as we say it, 2 o'clock, which actually means of the clock, 2 of the clock. And if you wanted to use only numbers, you could say that it was 2 o'clock with no minutes, because this is the hour, that's the minutes. So our hour is 2 and there are no minutes. And for a 24-hour clock, we could say that it is 2 o'clock. We put that 0 in front of there just to let us know that when we go to the 24-hour time, there is no number there. So those are 3 different ways that you could write o'clock. This one and this one are the ones you really need to think about for today. Those are the ones. Okay, so now I got my clock back, and if I turn, so in 1 full hour it goes around 1 whole circle. How far around the circle will it go in a half an hour? So if I'm going to go a half an hour, where would that hand stop? And you said 6, and you're right, that goes halfway around, the hand would stop at the 6. So how many minutes have gone past when you do that? So when I'm at 2 o'clock, how many minutes have gone by? 30. 30 minutes have gone by. What happened to my hour hand? Notice what my hour hand did. When I moved it around, my minute hand around, my hour hand is moving, and it goes to exactly halfway between those numbers. It's halfway between them. It's halfway around the clock. So what time would this be? It would be 2:30. Or we could say it was 2:30. What about this time? That would be 4:30 or 4:30. What about this one? That would be 9:30, because past the 9 and making its way to the 10. Okay, so now we're going to go back to this sheet for a minute, and it says, how many minutes are there in an hour? And if we get my clock back, how many minutes does it tell me there are in an hour? It tells me there are 60. So how many minutes would be in a half an hour? When I stopped halfway down, I pointed to the 3. So that would be 30 minutes. So 12:30 is also 30 minutes after 12. How could you write this time in numbers? How could you write that it was 12:30 in numbers? I would say that it's 12, that's my hour, and it's 30 minutes past. So 12:30. So that means it is 12:30. So if I had to write these words in these times in numbers, I'm going to ask you to pause and see if you can come up with what it is, and then I will show you what it is. Pause. Okay, you're back. So 3:30, so my hour is 3, and it's 1/2 which means it's 30. My hour is 6, so it's 6 o'clock, and it's gone 1/2, so it's 6:30. My hour is 11, and it's 1/2, which makes it 30. My 9, and it's 1/2, which makes it 30. So now, if I was to do it the other way around, so now I'm going to give it to you it's in numbers. I would like you to write it in words with a number. So see if you can come up with what that would be. So pause and figure it out. Okay, you're back. So I would say, because it's 30 minutes, I would say it's 9:30. Here, 30 minutes, so it's 1/2 my hour, 3. 1/2 my hour, 11. 1/2 my hour, which is 5. I hope you got those. So I'm going to ask you to pause, and we're going to come back, and we're going to talk about quarter after and quarter past and quarter to. So see you back in part 2.